Okay, the next speaker, thank you, Audrey. The next speaker is surcharged Liverpool Councillor, Left Unity member, shall I say representative, Felicity Dowling.
Thank you. Hiya. Thank you very much for the invitation to speak. Liverpool's well represented here today, isn't it? The condition of the working class in the UK in 2023 certainly calls for a socialist voice, a strong socialist voice, an alternative to the racism and cruelty of the Conservatives. And there are many socialists, organised or not, in the UK. They're there. We are part of the political landscape. We're just not really, amplifying our strength. Similar discussions to this are happening in Scotland. And there are many, many struggles and campaigns that people are involved in. I'd like to look at what a socialist party based in and of the working class would look like. And I think it would be involved in organising with our class in issues around housing, health, education, transport, children's well-being, on women's rights, on rights and facilities for disabled people. It would be eco-socialist, anti-racist, pro-migrant, and respectful of the rights of LGBT people. We'd be working for peace and for the climate. We'd be working on the arts and music, and we'd be internationalist. And it would organise amongst the youth. We'd be producing leaflets, newspapers, websites, podcasts, political education classes. And as someone said on the chat, some people who can get on the sort of mainstream media and make the case. We'd be producing all sorts of things, and if Ken stays with us for a while, we'd end up with some more brilliant films. It'd be a long conversation with the class. We'd be discussing the whole time with the class what our ideas and their ideas would be, and we'd help organise mutual aid for food, for shelter, and for emergency safety. That is going to be even more necessary with the coming of the climate crisis. And that party would stand for election where possible, but not separate the party and the electoral work. It wouldn't be solely an electoral party. It would have candidates with real links in the areas where they stand. And if and when they were elected, they'd operate, I hope, as we did in the 1980s, where we produced propaganda in bricks and mortar, in the big urban park, in urban regeneration, at the same time as raising huge political issues and really organising deep into the communities. We try and make it so that, as in the peak of the campaign in the 80s, you actually got on the bus, and the bus was immediately discussing all the political issues of the day in the area. We'd be working in the workplaces through the unions, the old unions and the new ones, working in communities, working in campaigns. We'd be a voice for our class's interests. We'd be recruiting, organising, educating, presenting the ideas that a better world's possible and that we can achieve that better world. We'd be democratic, and I would hope we'd also be, lively and, while serious, being optimistic. However, we can't magic that into existence. That doesn't just arrive because we want it. A mass party forms organically. Socialists, if you like, and this goes to my other big campaign thing, socialists are the midwives of that formation. They help it along, they don't make it themselves. The party comes out of struggle. Sometimes it's forged in fire, like the founding of the Portuguese Socialist Party 50 years ago. It was founded as the dictator fell. People's Democracy in Northern Ireland in 1968 sprang from struggle. The Scottish Socialist Party in 1998, or in 2008, the founding of Syriza in Greece. They came from struggle. Numerous new parties have formed in Europe across the time of the fight against austerity. Not all of them have survived, but many were formed. We're not talking about a fiat party, a party where someone says, I declare the party, and like you open the party in your own house. No, it's something that's got to come from the struggle. Yeah. There are many some parties in Europe have got very deep links to trade unions, but some don't have those links at all, and some have a trade union federation linked to the party with different trade union federations in the country. There are many possible models, but we do have to be absolutely grounded in the working class and in the organised working class. Labour still exists in the country away from the sickening policies of Starmer, and certainly in the minds of many people who are not politically active. It's a loyalty linked to class consciousness. There's some good, optimistic comrades still working in Labour. I couldn't possibly be that optimistic, but then I was expelled many, many, many years ago. We would want to keep links to those people and be involved in struggles with them. Roger argues that Labour will split, and indeed a socialist party of whatever name would not succeed if the working class stays with Labour. The very low vote to disaffiliate from Labour at Unite Conference and the low-key response to Starmer's speech shows that right now, not even the left unions would all disaffiliate and support an alternative. Hopefully some would. The closeness of the general election and the culture that change comes through discussion and legislation means that many people are depending on Labour to deliver them from the Tories. We think that it will be from the frying pan into the fire. We've got no system of government funding for political parties, so for standing in elections, it will be handy to have some trade union support. So, our class is involved in struggle. What do we have to do to found this party that will transform society? We've seen the drop in workers' living standards as the rich get richer, seen public services, including our beloved NHS, break, the housing crisis deepen, seen women bear 86% of the burden of austerity, seen the government pass laws to let migrants die or be sent to Africa, ramped up the rhetoric of hate against migrants, and seen the world burning. But we've also seen a strike wave, a contagious strike wave that's brought more people into the unions, more people on strike, more people active in their unions. We saw under Corbyn the huge numbers of young people, especially young women, supporting Corbyn's radical manifesto. And the pollsters tell us that they've not changed their mind as they grow older. They've kept their politics. Labour's got this organic link to the working class, but the loyalty is waning. We can expect them to win the next election, though don't put it past them to be stupid enough to lose. We can also expect them to have similar policies to the Tories when they're in office, and at that point there must be an alternative. We don't wait till then, we have to build towards that moment. The graft and the groundwork for the movement has to be laid now. The economy is in a dire situation and there could be serious developments. We can be sure, though, that any crisis will be used to bring in more austerity, more class war against the working class. Now, I'm involved in Left Unity. I'm a principal speaker for Left Unity. It's a radical left, feminist, eco-socialist, internationalist political party, founded in 2013 after a call from Ken Loach, because all the parties supported what they called austerity. Many of our members left. We got 10,000 members to start with. Many of them left to join Labour under Corbyn, but we continue to campaign. We've signed an accord with Breakthrough and the People's Alliance of the Left, PALS, to issue a call to people interested to join together to work for a socialist party in the interests of the working class and on challenging the existence of capitalism. We've seen the numbers that flock to Corbyn's peace and justice to enough's enough. There is scope and space for a left party out there, but founding it's going to be tough. A public call is likely soon. Meanwhile, all of us have to continue our campaign work, our trade union work. That's when the discussions with individuals and groups in different parts of the country will have to start. But we must ensure these discussions and meetings don't become an alternative to the campaigns for the trade union work. I hope we've got here some very energetic and optimistic people who can work together towards building such a party. And I'm going to divert from my official thing to say that I also hope that some of you can come to Liverpool on October the 7th, when we're marching to Labour Party conference under the campaign to save the NHS and to save Liverpool Women's Hospital. Some of you won't be there because you're in the Labour Party like you might have been in the past, but if there's any chance of you coming, it would be brilliant to send a really big demonstration to Labour Party conference in defence of the NHS. Thank you, comrades.
Perfect timing.